let's just sew whatever. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are making the Phoebe, but wait, it's a sling. Yeah, it's so cute. So I quilted these panels and cut it all out. I did not use a ton of interfacing. I just used the cotton woven for all my lining pieces, and other than that I used quilt batting on my quilted pieces, of course. So it's super squishy and soft, but I absolutely love it. The changes I made to the bag, and I talk about in the beginning, are I added this front pocket. I added this handle a little bit shorter so that it didn't cover my entire gusset, and then I took the sling portion from the Duncan sling bag and added it to this one, and then just added two little D-rings into the bottom corners so that I could switch whichever way I wanted to wear it. I omitted the back zippered pocket, but I almost wish that I'd added like some kind of little slip pocket or something, just because like when I travel on airplanes and stuff like that, I really like having a place for my tickets. That's dumb, they're on your phone, I know, but I once hit update my phone right before boarding an airplane. I was like just tapping the screen and hitting OK, and that was terrifying. So yeah, my phone fits perfectly there. You could wear this on the front or on the back, and then depending on which way you want to wear it across your body, you can switch off that sling. But it's just my new shirt. That's it. That's what I'm gonna wear. Okay, bye. Enjoy. I'm gonna go over my hardware choices super quick with y'all and let you know what we're changing. So I've got a ton of zipper pulls. I've got two 3/4 inch D-rings. I have 1 inch slider. Think I'm gonna go ahead and add two additional 3/4 inch D-rings around my strap, just because I think it'll be nice to have the option to hang stuff off of these if I wanted, or try to make it a crossbody. This bag is normally a backpack with like cute straps that clip on, and it's kind of convertible in that way, but I am going to be making it into a sling bag similar to the Duncan sling. So I'm going to be using this piece along with a piece of cotton that I'll be sewing together to make it a sliding strap that just sits as a sling, or you could put it over one shoulder, and then we're going to have our grab handle. So I'm going to have a total of 4 D-rings. Yeah, I've decided. So I've got all of my zipper tape pieces here. I've got one that's cut to 8 inches. This is a change I'm making to the pattern. I wanted to add another zippered pocket to the front zipper compartment of the bag. You'll have seen what that looks like before starting this. So we're gonna need an 8 inch zipper for that, and 1.5 by 1.25 zipper tabs, 2 lining pieces that are 10.5 by 7 to create that piece. Hopefully it doesn't add too much bulk to the bag, but we'll see. I've got another zipper here for my inside zippered pocket, which I'm going to be making as an overlay instead of just a regular right sides together situation. I've been enjoying doing those. I have a piece that's 14 inches that I'm going to be adding 2 zipper pulls to. This one you do need to cut to a very particular size, same with that 8 inch one. The other 2 can be longer than you need them to be. So I'm adding 2 zipper pulls to this. I find it easier to have 2 zipper pulls. You don't have to worry about what direction it's going. You just have to worry about installing it perfectly, which with time you'll get. And then I'm going to add 2 zipper pulls to this. This bag can be made without binding, I am going to be adding binding to the back section of the bag because I think it's going to be too thick to put together any other way. If you have made the Mav pack recently, this bag is a very similar style of finishing, binding or no binding. Yeah. This pattern also looks a little bit different than Jenny's newest patterns. It's 2 years old, so she was still figuring out her voice as a pattern designer, but it's still an epic pattern. I remember seeing this and thinking, I really want to make that. And then I just never did. So, love that for me. I'm going to go ahead and start with this strap. I cut it to about 12. I folded the ends in by 1 inch, no, by ½ inch, so that it wasn't a raw edge. And then taped it down the center. So I'm going to trim these at an angle so they don't try to peek through the top. There we go. So I'm just going to top stitch around this. I've got my stitch length set to 4.5. I'm just going all the way around. This is a change from the pattern. Initially she has like this really fun longer overlay that gets D-rings added in certain places, and I absolutely love the way it looks, but I didn't want to cover up my quilted panels. I think at the end of this video I will show, well, maybe it'll be in the cutting video. Probably in the cutting video. I will show how I put these pieces together, the panels, to quilt it. It was super fun. I have made maybe 2 quilts in my life. It's not my passion, but when I designed this Sewing Ghost collection, I knew I wanted to make some kind of quilted piece. So there's my little handle. I'm gonna set that aside. I'm also going to start working on the strap. This is for this is to make it into a sling bag. So this is a different piece than is needed, but I just cut this to an arbitrary length by 4 inches wide, folding the longest raw edges into the center and then in half again to create my adjusting strap. I left one edge raw and I folded one end in. Okay, so I'm leaving one end raw and I folded the ends of this one in since it's going to be around my slide adjuster, and this end is going to be enclosed in the top of the sling portion. So like I'm not even going to worry about sewing that end. It's going to be encased within my fabric anyway. Ugh, it's so cute. I love it. So we want to work backwards as we're creating this and think about, okay, if this is the top of my piece that I want face up when I'm wearing the bag, then I also will want like this face up when I'm wearing the bag. So that's gonna go right side down into the center of this piece. And I'm just gonna really quickly baste it on. Okay, then we're going to put these right sides together. Editing Lauren here to say that as I'm watching this, I wish that I had sewn it either curved or angular to taper it more to the 1 inch, because as I'm wearing it, I don't care, but as I'm looking at it in this video, I'm like, that would be nice. Just a thought. So I just trimmed that spot down, and I'm going to turn this through. Okay. So then we'll top stitch this piece. So now this is going to get attached to the back panel of my bag. Oh, I also need a snap hook. I forgot about that. Oh, there's the bottom. And then I'll trim off this excess piece here, and I'm going to fold this in half to find the center. And then if you wanted to, you could add a little name tag to this area. I was kind of thinking about adding this here. I love this tag, but it's nothing I would ever use on a bag for somebody else. But the way you wear this, like, that's right side up. So screw it, let's do it. I love this tag. Pulling my threads to the back here. Okay. So cute. So then to finish this off, I'm going to go grab that snap hook, but your slide adjuster goes on top. We'll loop our slider or our snap hook through and then wrap this around the center bar. Okay, so here's this piece finished. So then I'm going to move on to, that did nothing. I'm going to move on to the front pocket that I'm changing up, and then we can resume the pattern as normal. All right, moving on to that front pocket. I'm going to find my 8-inch zipper here. Just a reminder, this is not part of the pattern. This is just a little something I'm having fun with. It's probably going to make it super bulky, but I think it'll look really nice. Alright, so I am laying my zipper tabs right sides together, wrong sides out, creating a sandwich over the zipper. And then I'm going to use just like a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance to attach them. So I've cut a piece of lining and I've cut a piece of my quilted exterior. I do kind of wish that I had added a layer of interfacing to my quilt pieces before I added the batting and quilted them, but I think it's kind of fun and less structured that way, but definitely not what I'm used to. So it'll be a nice change. So I'm going to flip these right sides out and top stitch. It's not super important what the finished size turns out to, so long as it's longer than the front pocket. And your zipper tape is not in your seam allowances. Not quite long enough. Crap. I think it'll be okay. It's a 1/2 inch seam allowance on this front pocket anyway, so it'll be fine. Yeah, I didn't math that right. So I guess cut a 9-inch zipper. and then add your zipper tabs. Which is what I wrote down originally too. Makes sense. Not bad. Okay, so I'm putting my zipper face down and my lining over top of that. This bag is for me, so it might not be the end of the world if it's messed up, but it also might be the end of the world if I mess it up. So I'm like, how long would it take me to cut new zipper tabs? You know what I mean? I'm gonna cut new zipper tabs. All right, so I went ahead and cut my zipper tabs to 3 inches, just because I'd rather have plenty of extra fabric than not enough. You can always trim it down. I did not cut a new zipper, so my zipper is shorter than I would have liked, but it'll work out in the end. And I think when you're changing up a pattern like that, that's really the most important thing, is to like be flexible with what the outcome is going to be like, or be super confident in your skills. And I am not super confident in my skills, so I'll just be flexible. Okay, so there is my zipper. Hey, look at that. Love it. So now I can just even up those zipper tabs on the bag and trim the excess away. Take one of my lining pieces. And I did interface all of my lining pieces with Fuse, which is just a cotton woven, not a cotton woven, it's just a cotton interfacing, a woven interfacing. It's very similar to SF101, that kind of a thing. And it is super strange to make a bag without like waterproof canvas or anything like that. Honestly though, I'm excited for like a little refresher in that way though. Lately I feel like all of my bags have just been like so much, so hard to turn, that kind of a thing, so will be nice. All right, I am gonna add a nameplate, a metal nameplate. And who knows, maybe I'm a little too obsessed with this design, but it is what it is. Okay, so 5.25 is the center. So then before I add the other side, I'm adding my nameplate, and then when you're inserting, just make sure that you avoid cutting through your lining piece. Looks like this one's had dirty toddler hands on it. That's better. Ooh, sorry. So cute. So now this piece goes over top. And then we'll add our other liner as well. And then we're just gonna fold up that pocket. So I did decide I'm not going to add fleece to the liner of this part of the bag. I just felt like adding that pocket is adding enough bulk. Oh my gosh, it looks so cute. I'm gonna trim away the excess zipper tab. Nice size pocket, and then I'm going to trim. I'm just going to baste all of this together. So that pocket will then extend the whole bag. So now we can move on to the pattern as normal. Oh my god, I'm just obsessed with that. Alright, so we've got our 14-inch zipper and our zipper tabs. And we want to make sure that we are doing the same shape on the same sides. So these should have been mirrored images. And I don't think that since I'm doing 2 zipper pulls, that the direction of that little swoopy bit matters, but you do want to make sure that they are lined up, and then it's a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So right sides together, creating that zipper sandwich. Got my exterior on my exterior, lining on the lining. I'm going to clip it up a little bit higher so that I know it's straight with my zipper, and then 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then I'm going to open that up and top stitch. And then I'm going to fold this in half to find my centers. And then you don't want to snip zipper tape. Depending on the quality, it could unravel after a while, so if you can avoid it, please do. Okay. And then we're going to mark the center top of this panel. And the liner of that. So they should both have that flat bottom edge. There's one roundy bit, and that's not the one we're looking for right now. So I'm going to use a little bit of double-sided tape, just 1/8 inch wide, to help me hold my zipper in place, because I might even be able to sew these layers together at the same time. We'll see. You could very probably add some kind of slip pocket to either one of these pieces if you wanted. So if you add it to the one with the flat bottom, it would be on this side of your pocket, so when you unzip it, you'd have that. Or if you add it to this side, you would have it on the back side of your pocket. I might do that with the little slip pocket. All right, don't forget to add your zipper. If you're not using two zipper pulls, make sure they're facing in the direction you would like them to face. I've lined up the center, and now I'm lining up the sides. Oh, it looks like we want to baste these layers together. That makes sense. Yeah, it'll be fine. So I believe that that's right. There isn't a picture showing the ends of the zipper, but I believe the curved part is facing the front of the bag. And you want to like bring that up. Oh, it's so cute. Like creates that 3D effect on the zipper. It's also worth mentioning that adding that pocket, depending on your seam allowances, could have changed the size of the piece. So just double check that they're the right size still. Mine is. I'm good. Not to brag or anything. Shut up. Get out of here. So where I cut the panel to add that zipper pocket is like perfect with the zipper tabs. I love it when that works out. Alright, I'm going to baste this in place, about 1/4 inch seam allowance. You're going to want to round this out, so be careful of that. Make sure your zipper pulls are out of the way. And then I'm just using my finger to keep all those layers flat, but I can also use my screwdriver. Double-sided tape is definitely helping me keep that zipper where I want it to be. and then you'll kind of lift up on this side here to keep those layers together until you get to that point. And we'll trim. And just so you can get an idea of what that looks like, it creates that like 3D pocket. Now, if you really wanted to make this like a bound bag, you could add binding and do all the sides together, but I think it'll look really nice to have that finished edge. Oh my god, look at that, that's so cute. Okay, now we gotta add the other side. So this is the side with, again, that flat bottom. Debating. I think I'm gonna add my slip pocket to that lining piece there, because it's just like a cute little slip pocket, and I think it'll fit really nicely within that compartment. That'll be like my lip gloss pocket. My lip gloss's pocket. Anyway. So I'm going to clip this together with the other side facing up so I can see my stitch line and follow along. And then again, make sure that you're curving off around that edge. At the bottom. I'm also pressing down at this seam here to make sure that I don't get any bunching in my zipper. So I can feel the zipper through those layers, and I'm pressing down to get rid of any puckers. Okay. And then we don't want to trim. If you do trim anything, just make sure it's not your zipper tape. We're gonna push this through. So now you can see we've got a nice finished lining. We've caught all of our seams. And line up the bottom edge. Clip that together. This bag is so obnoxious. I love it. I love it. So I've got a lot of bulk at the corners, but like I know my machine can handle it, so I'm okay with it. And if anything, it just adds some rigidity to the bag. Like, so right here is a little bit much, but I can kind of press with my screwdriver to make sure we can handle those layers. I'm continuing around. I'm going to leave my needle in, zip it so my zipper pulls are completely out of the way, and then resituate. And I'm pulling all along those edges to make sure that my zipper is out as far as it can be and that everything is lining up. And then baste the bottom shut. You can see we've created just that little bit of extra room there. So cute. Oh my god. So now we can add the back of that after I create my little pocket, which I can do this way. So I'm folding up. I cut my piece to 12 by 6 instead of two 6-inch pieces. I thought, well, this will be easier. So I'm going to fold up those ends and just sew along the sides. I am going to trim at my corners just a little bit. And then we're going to flip this. As you can see, I just need to press this down. Super quick little slippy pocket. Top stitch my top edge. And then find my centers and center. I don't want this up too high, but I don't want it down too low. So I've got it maybe like 1.25 inches from the bottom. Yep, 1.25 inches. Then I had, yeah, this little woven label. May contain spooky shit. Oh my god, it's perfect. Okay, so there is that little slip pocket, and now we'll add that to the back side of this panel. I have wanted to make this bag for years, so I'm super excited. Like literally since it came out. I think I remember talking to someone and they were like, oh, she doesn't allow video tutorials. And I was like, oh, okay, never mind then. But she does. So we were all just very misinformed. forgot to mark my bottom center. I do have a lot of bulk in the bottom. But it'll be okay. So we're just going to work our way through clipping around this. And there will be a little point that we cut off because we're rounding out the bag. So that is normal. And then I guess based on your seam allowances, things like that, it could differ for your bag. And luckily I can see from my slip pocket top stitching, I do have it right side up. But if you're unsure if you like the slip pocket placement or if you need to change it, now would be a good time. You can unzip this and peek in, and there's a little slip pocket. So cute. Alright, so I'm going to sew all the way around, keeping those pieces together. I did watch Jenny's tutorial on making this bag just so I could get a visual so that I understood the directions. I feel like a lot of times I don't trust my, not my reading skills necessarily, but like my comprehension skills. Like, I know what I think it means, but is that what the pattern designer intended for me to think it means? So just be very careful that your zipper is flat and you're not accidentally sewing through teeth or hitting your zipper pulls like I was about to. And I'm really only doing like a 1/4 inch seam allowance, if that. Whoa. And just double check your zipper, y'all. Just make sure it looks good. Oh my goodness. Now I could see where it would be nice to have that little bit of fleece within that section, but I think I'll be okay without. I was just so worried it would be so bogged down. But like this pocket here fits my phone perfectly. You can see this is about the width of the bag too, so like as a sling it's gonna be super cute. I think even if it were a little narrower it could be cute too, but you can also sling it on your back, so like it's good. Alright, so next step is to add the top portion of our backpack. And I did not mark my center, that's silly. So I'm going to go ahead and mark both of my centers really quick. The bottom and the top. So then we will sew around that piece. I'm dead. Literally. I'm a ghost. And sew that into place. I don't know if it's easier to, well, yeah, okay. I guess it's easier to kind of like smash it down this way. Just make sure that you're sewing within your basting stitch, like, or past your basting stitch, I should say. And that your zipper isn't bunched up. Zipping that up won't really help me right now. I'm gonna leave my needle in and try to zip it up. See if that does anything for me. Oh my goodness. Now I don't know if we need to top stitch that piece or not. Like, would it be easier to top stitch it out or in or not at all? But so far I'm very happy with the way this is looking. You can see that side gusset there leaves room for the bag to breathe a little bit. It almost looks crooked, but I think that's just because like I didn't cut it straight to the quilt blocks necessarily. But the pattern doesn't say to top stitch. Let me check the photo. And it doesn't look top stitched there, so I guess I won't. Just debating. Love that slip pocket. I did not sew the bottom of my pocket shut. So I know I'm gonna catch it again, but I'm just like, oh, why didn't I just do it? I should have just done it. And then it would have been a little bit shorter, it would have been less bulky in the bottom of the bag. But alas, I didn't do it. I really like that slip pocket there. Alright, we'll move forward. Come on. Alright, so I'm taking my other long zipper piece. I'm gonna grab my top gusset, which is the shorter of your gusset pieces, and I'm gonna grab my handle piece. Your handle piece might look longer than mine. Just keep that in mind. Alright. So I've got my exterior and my lining. And we're just gonna sandwich exterior and lining. Dang, I thought I'd cut this like way longer than I needed it. It is not. It's pretty much dead on. That sucks. That's okay. So in the pattern, she has you baste one and then do the other. but that is up to you confidence level wise if you want to do that. We'll get as close to it as we can, about a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Open that up and top stitch. I was gonna iron it, but my iron has turned off. So like, okay, fine, I won't. Alright, and then do yourself a favor. Bring your zipper pulls into middle-ish. And then we'll find our center and attach the grab handle. Moving your lining out of the way. Since I'm doing this differently, I imagine like what I'm thinking it to be should work. I'm gonna grab my little ruler here. So what I'm thinking, 1.25 in and centered, is that I want the edges to be 3 inches away from the center. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to give myself 1 inch to connect. So technically the edge of my handle is 4 inches away. 1, 2, 3, 4 inches away from the center. And I'll tape that down. And again, my finished handle length is about 11 inches currently. Again, I'm doing this differently. If you're following the pattern, follow the pattern. I just didn't want the handle to cover up like my entire quilted piece here. So that's why I'm doing it this way. All right, 1 1/4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's my edge of a handle. I'm using double-sided tape so that I can visualize this and see if it's actually how I want it to be. Or not. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my god, yes, it's perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna sew a 1 inch little box. I must have thrown my marking pen somewhere. Excuse you. Hello, marking pen. Where are you? I just got a new one. Whatever. So 1 inch. Little mark. Make sure you test whatever you're using this marking pen on. This is not air erasing or anything like that. Make sure that's even. There we go. So yeah, I'm just gonna do a little 1 inch box stitch. And then my D-ring, just kind of floating around right now, but I'm going to like rivet it in place, I think. Or maybe I'll just, oh, why am I so stupid? Whatever. I'll put it back in place. Maybe I'll just add a second row of stitching right here to encapsulate the D-ring. So cute. All right, let's try that again. 4 inches from the center. Oh, get my D-ring back on. Yeah, that makes sense. So that's super cute. There's my handle, my D-rings. They'll kind of sit unobtrusively where they are. So that's nice. And then we can fold this back down, trim things up. And then we're gonna add the other side of the gusset. Front and back. And this is gonna be a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So make sure your exteriors are right sides together and your lining pieces are right sides together. And then I like to top stitch just through my exterior, not my lining. So that way if my lining has any fit issues, I can easily adjust. Ooh, that would have been a cute place for a woven label too. Make sure there's no twisting. Oh no, are you kidding me? Rude. That's how not used to working with cotton I am. Like I can't feel the difference between the layers. Anyway, normally, like I said, I don't sew through. the lining. But I did that time. Luckily, we can just go through that again. Hopefully this time, not as many layers unintentionally. Okay, put everything together. And then we're going to baste around all of the edges. Other side. I am so sorry for the noise of my AC. It is way too hot today to turn the air down, especially since Dorothy's home, so I'm sorry. It's noisy, but it's ambient, right? Some nice ambiance. Alright, and now that I have all of that basted together, I'm going to go ahead and find the bottom center on both sides, as well as my top center again. Ooh. Okay, my top center is good, but I do want to mark it on my zipper. And instead of snipping, like I mentioned earlier, yeah, I had my marking pen when I marked out the center of my zipper, so like, where did it go? It's probably in my project bin. Anyway, so now this is going to get attached to the front side of the exterior. The raw edge zipper up against the raw edge of your bag so far. So I had talked to Nicole about this bag in our Triskel making video, and how I was thinking about making one, and she finishes this seam off with binding, which is totally an option, or you can do the no raw edge method. So I'm going to do the no raw edge method for this side, and then the other side I am going to use binding. So trying to think. We're going to be adding our other side of lining on top of this. So we still need our turn hole zippered pocket. But if you're finishing the entire bag off with binding, you wouldn't need to leave your zipper pocket open. Just brainstorming, finishing that. And then when we add the back portion of the bag, that's where we're going to be putting our sling topper, we'll call it. So I'm just basting around my zipper. It's so nice. Like, it's a refresher to use a material that like is so like just waterproof canvas and all those interfacings and vinyl can get so stiff, so like it's just a nice breather to work with cotton. So there is a lot of bulk right now along the bottom of this bag because of my quilted panels and the addition of that zipper pocket. So then this is what that is looking like. And there's my little grab handle. Yeah, I love this as a sling. Oh, could wear it in the front or in the back. I'm really excited to use this weekend. It's so magical. Okay, good. Oh wait, no, wrong pocket. Okay, yeah, I did catch all of my lining pocket pieces with that sew, and then I have to sew around it again with a slightly larger seam allowance, so it's good. Checking my corners here to make sure I caught those fabrics. It's pretty good. Again, we're going to be sewing around that one more time anyway. But before I do that, I got to work on my zipper pocket, so let's do that. I love when we start to run out of pieces. It's a good feeling. Okay. So your lining front is a little bit shorter than your lining back. And then your lining back and your lining and your back are a little bit bigger. I have thread as part of this design, so I'm like, what's spare thread and what's not? The back of my bag feels a little soft, but I think that's okay. I don't want it to be super duper structured. She has you add a zipper pocket to the back of the bag. I'm not gonna do that. I just can't see myself using it with all the other pockets I've added, so I'm not gonna worry about it. And yeah, it definitely says do not add your zipper pocket to the lining main panel, which is also the back. So I'm not going to do that. All right. And then when this bag is being worn, I want to be able to see this piece. So that means this is the back against my body and this is the front. So we want to sew it with the non-quilted side up, because when we lift it up, that's what we'll see. So this is the back side laying against your back, and then this will be the front. I also thought about adding a slip pocket to the back, but I didn't want to use more of the quilted fabric, so yeah, anyway. So this piece is a little bit wider than the bag itself, so I'm just gonna center it and then trim off the excess. No biggie. Okay. So yeah, no pocket for me on the back. I think that's fine. Set those there. And now I am doing the zipper overlay method for the pocket. So I'm going to find my center. And use lots of double-sided tape. To lay this overlay. The overlay I cut to 8 inches by 2 inches, and then I cut in 0.75 inches. Oh my gosh, this vinyl looks so good. This is the Magenta Pearl Luxe vinyl from my website. So my preference for the zipper pocket would be to have it on the lining back panel, the main lining, but that isn't possible with the way it's constructed. You could add a second zippered pocket to that section, but I don't think it's necessary. I will be finishing off the backside with binding because I think with all those layers together it's going to be too much to be able to sew through. It's just going to be way too high. All right, so I'm going to slowly cut around my cotton, making sure you don't cut through your overlay. And then keep in mind the orientation of your pocket pieces, etc. So I have these cut way too wide, but not a big deal. So I want the zipper face up and my lining face up. I'll base that down and repeat that on the other side, because when you look inside the pocket you'll see that the lining is right side up. And then you can either iron that open or baste stitch it, stay stitch it. With cotton I could definitely iron it, but my iron isn't turned on. So I'm just gonna baste it. Oh, where is my bobbin? Oh, where is my bobbin? I'm not going to see the other side of the thread, so I'm not going to worry about making another bobbin that matches. It's not that serious. Adding double-sided tape to the top side of my zipper. I'm then gonna lay my overlay on top. And since our lining is cut way wider than it needs to be, I don't have to worry about getting everything perfectly lined up. We got plenty of room on the sides. Just make sure that your teeth are straight. And then you're gonna leave that open to sew the overlay down. And normally, that's right, I leave my zipper way off inside. Ooh, not that way off. Not literally off. So depending on the size of your zipper pull, this may or may not work for you. But I like to sew around the 3 sides and then bring my zipper pull back in before I close it completely. Make sure your lining's laying flat. Alright, so I'm reaching that opening, I'm pushing my zipper back in. And then I will zip it back up to realign my zipper. And then finish that off. And again, we are turning the bag through the zipper pocket, so we need to leave the bottom open to turn through. Just trimming all of my extra threads. And then we'll fold that down. Trim the pieces to match. And then the way I do it is I fold up the bottom edge and sew around just the one side and then repeat that on the other side. And trim that. And turn this side out. So there is our inner zippered pocket. Lovely. So now we can smash all these layers together. So fun. So I'm clipping with the top of my bag facing up, or with the back side of the front of my bag facing up. Lining up your center, that top edge. And smooshing all those layers inside that front panel. You want to be really careful with your zipper along this seam too, that it doesn't get all bunchy. I don't know if unzipping it would help or not, but something to think about. I think something I could have done to help prevent bulk is that front zipper pocket that I added, making it so the lining doesn't go into that bottom seam. That would be a little extra space. There we go. And I tend to kind of pinch everything together. And then we'll be able to sew around all of that. All right, here we go. Make sure that you fold or trim your pocket pieces out of the way too. I'm coming in like 1/8 of an inch from my original stitch line just to be safe. Any areas that are a little bulky, make sure you save your fingers and use some kind of tool to help you navigate those. Oh crap, what did I say? I said don't sew through your pocket, and what did I do? I did it. I'll probably just seam rip it from the pocket, leave it in my side seam, and see what I can do from there. Make sure you're not sewing through any hardware. And then match, however you folded your top panel, match that on the other side. Alright, so now we're at our zipper, so we want to be super careful that we're not creating any kind of bunching. Ugh. What did I say? I said don't sew through it. What did I do? I did it. Truly, just right through it. Well, it's not the worst. Maybe I'll leave it, but I'll fix it for this side. All right, so can't really trim this top edge because we have our zipper tape there, but I can trim down here, and that's gonna help with the bulk. But this bulky seam also gives a lot of structure to the bag, so I'm not super mad at it because it's not like I have to top stitch anything here. I also want to remind us that we are still going to need to add our D-ring connectors to the back panel, so don't let us forget. All right, so now I'm gonna turn it inside out. Like, what am I looking at here? Just turn it out and we'll know. We'll find out. So I'm turning through my zippered pocket, which is sewn down on one side, so it's a little trickier, but not impossible. Also, I did the thing I've said not to do. Don't push what's easiest first. Push the furthest thing away from your zipper. Okay, so grab the bottom of your bag through first. Oh, that's what's clipped. Okay. Thank you. Making sure my microphone is still on. If you ever see this like glowing thing on my head, it's my microphone. Okay. Did it. Now we just hope I didn't mess anything up. So we're gonna press all the way along the zipper. Looks good. Push that open. Hopefully we caught everything. Oh, yeah. No, I still can sew this shut because not all of it was attached, but a decent amount of it is. Ridiculous. So yeah, we're gonna sew this turning hole shut. Now in the pattern piece for the back panel, she has you attach the D-ring connectors just straight to the back panel, and I think that's to alleviate any bulk within the bottom seam. So you can definitely do that if you would like. I have like ½ inch free on the bottom. Hilarious. Oh, I should not be sewing this shut because I didn't even inspect my whole seam. But we're just going with it. Oh my gosh. So cute. I literally can't even handle it. It's so gaudy. it's just as I'd hoped it would be. So then I think it's optional if you want to top stitch around the zipper, you can. No, it's not necessarily optional. Let's see here. Because when you do that, you're just going to go from there around the top to the other side. I don't know that there's a good way to make it look finished, which is hard for me. So yeah, I think I'm going to skip it because I've got enough structure, and I think because the panel is quilted, you really can't tell a difference. But now we're ready to finish our back panel, and like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be doing that with binding, so it's going to be super quick. And then I'm not adding any other pockets to it, so it's just a few pieces to put together. I am just going to trim away all my fuzzies and make sure my layers are even. Oh my god, this shirt looks even cuter covered in thread. I love it. Alright, so yeah, just a few pieces left to put together. Here is my connector. Look at that, I already taped it and everything. So I'm just using a 1.5 inch wide piece of fabric, folding it right sides together, so this really shouldn't add much bulk at all. I'm going to cut this in half and then slide my D-rings through. I think I'm probably going to rivet them on the bag as well. Excuse you. Yeah. So I'll slide this through. And then I'm just gonna baste it in the corner of the bag on the bottoms. And this is so it can be worn on either side. Alright, and then just the hole is going to go right under my D-ring. And I mean, honestly, you could do this through the exterior and the lining if you wanted, since I'm finishing it with binding, but I think this will be fine. And this makes it so those D-rings aren't like flapping around. They're nice and structured. And then I'll set those. I was debating on if I wanted to add any other pockets to this bag, but I do not. I think it feels even enough. There's plenty on the front, so I'm just laying my front and back main panels wrong sides together and basting it all the way around. If you wanted this to be really structured on the back panel, you could add foam Just make sure it's not within your seam allowances so that you aren't trying to also add your binding through the foam. It's a lot. But I'm going to trim this so everything is nice and even. Get all of your threads. There's that. Make sure your D-rings are pressed up. Hardware. Move that now. Because then it's just going to go right sides together with linings out. Make sure you unzip your zipper here. Yeah, this is gonna be good. And then I'm just clipping all these layers together, lining up the edges. So one way I find that helps me clip is I will like I'll push my layers together and I'll kind of push it off the edge of my table, and that's where I'm able to like hold the piece where it is and clip it at the same time. So if you're ever like, what are you doing and why can't I fully see what you're doing? Oh, it's because of that. This section here is pretty thick. There we go. Perfect. So there's what that looks like. And we'll just sew around the outside. Coming in just slightly from that basting stitch. And then as you're sewing over that D-ring connector, just be careful that your hardware is out of the way. Alright, and then I'm going to trim this so it's nice and even, so that when I go around to bind it, it's not so nuts. I am even trimming through my D-ring connector because, again, I have to be able to get my binding around it. Okay. Just check from the other side that you've caught all your seams. Looks good. I'm a little too ridiculously excited. So I'm gonna grab some binding tape. I think I'm gonna use these black stars. I might have just enough. These are 10-yard rolls, so it's like enough that you're gonna use it. Dang it. Enough you're gonna use it up, but not enough that you run out so fast. Dang. Just shy. I'll go grab another roll of it. How long has that been there? The whole time? Oh my god. Okay. Got that all clipped in place. binding is attached. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, it's so good. Alright, so it's all finished. I absolutely love it. It's so cute. So I've got my zipper pocket here that I can put my phone into. There's that slip pocket inside. And then we've got the zipper pocket inside there. And then finishing it with binding made it super quick. I don't think it looks bad at all. And then I have these D-rings I can hang keys off of, or cute little keychains, whatever. They're unobtrusive and they just look cute. And then here is the back. So then to wear it as a sling, I could either wear it in the front, which is honestly still super cute. I've got it a little too tight for that. It's still super cute. And then if you want to wear it on your back, you can do that too. You could wear it just on one side or totally across your body. So there it is, across the body. Oh, oh. There we go. Fix all my layers. So yeah, I love it as a sling. It's so stinking cute. You could even do like the little phone pocket that is part of the Lynn sling pattern if you wanted to. But yeah, I am obsessed with this bag. I think it's so cute and it was such a labor of love. Thank you for hanging out while we made it. This is probably the floppiest bag I've ever made. But like, it's still super structured, but it's like squishy and lightweight and took forever, but it's so unbelievably adorable. So thanks so much for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you later.